That beef between Pac and Snoop happened before New York. We were scheduled to do the Roseanne Barr show. We were at the Penthouse in L.A. off of Wilshire. Snoop had one wing, Pac had the other wing. Snoop was over at Pac's Penthouse, and Pac and he were talking. He said, so, you know what time you got to be there, and you're going to be there, and this and that, woo, woo, woo. Snoop was like, yeah. Well, Snoop never showed up. Snoop supposed to show up for the rehearsal. He wasn't there. So I called Ken up. I said, Kenny, what's up, man? I go, Pac is like, tripping, dude. Snoop didn't show up for the rehearsal. Because, yeah, I know. Because we still over in the Penthouse. Because he said he wasn't going. So Snoop and Pac didn't perform that night. And from that time on, that time forward, Pac was like, done with Snoop. He like, this nigga turned on him. And if you look at any of the following couple of weeks, they went to the MTV Awards. If you look at any of the pictures, any of the footage of Pac and Snoop sitting there next to one another being interviewed by MTV, Snoop just is holding a mic, looking straight ahead with like no expression on his face at all. Snoop never said a word. He sat there like this nigga's little brother. I can't open my mouth.
Do you think that there's really animosity between these two?
I think so.
Between Snoop and Tupac?
I think so, from the simple fact of the words that come out of his mouth. Like, sneak dissing them is what I really don't understand. Like, for example, the whole situation with Nas, the thing in the park, where Snoop said, I'm a gang member. You know, Pac walked by and said, yeah, I just checked him or something like that. And Snoop said, I looked at him like, no, Nas gave you a pass. That wasn't true. So I'm starting to think, like, why are you making up these stories about Pac? What wasn't true? And I remember, you know, Jada said something like, I didn't really like, Snoop, how you was calling the woman out of their names in your raps. And Snoop replied, it's not word by word, but he replied saying something similar like, yeah, I was trying to change and, you know, and not speak bad about women until Pac came to death row and like brought me back. So it seemed like he was sneak dissing him. Look it up, bro.
And Pac was slowly but surely, you could say, taking over because he the hottest thing smoking right now. Snoop is cool, but he ain't got no new record. Tupac got all new shit coming, right? It's hitting you all upside your head right now.
That's real talk, man. Do you think Snoop felt the type of way about Tupac?
Yeah.
That's the sense he was having?
Yeah, of course, man. You the top man. You built Death Row. And now you gotta get in line. Come on, man. How else you gonna feel?
And for Snoop to say he never liked Hit 'Em Up and he didn't, you know what I mean? He never expressed that. You know, you got videos of him on stage with Pac rapping Hit 'Em Up and he's rapping the lyrics right along with him. You know what I mean? He was expressing his love for Hit 'Em Up. He was in the studio bopping his head. He was on the stage when Pac was performing it, singing the lyrics with him at the House of Blues. It's real.
Look at this. Yo, we represent for y'all to the fullest. We represent for the West Coast to the fullest. I fuck this bitch and sold 5 million. That's Death Row style. West Side, baby. Full life. Bitch. Jewel got cases. God damn it. Everybody on the road got problems with the motherfucking law. The niggas don't know they gangbang in LA. They love fighting. Killing and shooting. Stupid fucks. That's why we drop it like we drop it. His wife pregnant, that nigga waiting like an expected father not knowing who the baby is. The world don't know I use the rubber, so it ain't mine. I'll tell you straight.
That's the opinion. But if you're a friend and your friend passed away, why don't you try to remember him and spread positive stuff about him? You know, I already know why he doing that, bro.
Why is that?
You know, he never, imagine if you, the biggest star on death row and Pac come and take all your shine. Do you understand? And 25 years later, Pac died, and every time you do an interview, that name is brought up.
When Tupac joined Death Row, was Snoop jealous of Tupac?
Snoop definitely was a little razzled because he used to be in Snoop Dogg. And when Pac came, he demanded all the fucking attention and got it. Of course Snoop was jealous. Of course Dre was jealous. I can see him getting, little offended, but not for Snoop. I mean, you gotta pay homage. I mean, this man has been around just as long as you.
Who was really behind Tupac joining Death Row?
During that time, I've never heard of Dad, Snoop, none of those guys having anything to do with that. Their minds were on making music, bitches, and getting high at that moment. They wouldn't even be privy to that information at that point, and I'm sure they didn't even care.